power of communication distills all of that into 9 principles. We're not going to talk about all 9 today. We're going to talk primarily about one, but let's get there through 2 others. The first principle of effective leadership communication is communication is the continuation of business by other means. Communication isn't something that exists for its own sake. You don't communicate just to communicate. You don't send out the email just because it's time for an email. You don't send out a press release just because you always send out a press release. You have to communicate for a purpose, and that purpose involves some kind of business advantage. You only do it for a business reason, whether you're in a for-profit, a not-for-profit, in the government, whatever. You do it to improve your circumstance in some way. The other element of this first principle is communication is as important as every other business discipline. It is as important as accounting. It is as important as finance. It is as important as supply chain management. It is as important as logistics and operations. And it needs to be taken as seriously as those other disciplines. More about that in a moment. The second principle of effective leadership communication is if you are to move people, you need to meet them where they are. You can't move people if you don't have their attention in the first place, and you can't move them if you don't know how to move them in the first place. One of the burdens of leadership is to care about your audiences. One of the burdens of leadership is to care about your stakeholders and to be so interested in them that you can engage them on terms that matter to them and not in terms that matter merely to us. That includes when PR people are trying to persuade non-PR people. We can't persuade them if we don't meet them where they are. And for those who need verifiable data, we need to engage them with verifiable data. More about this as we move on. But the 9th principle of effective leadership communication is this. Leaders and communicators need to understand how the human brain works. They need to understand what human beings are even capable of. And if you need to meet human beings where they are, understanding the human brain gives us a pretty good idea of what we can do when we meet people, where to meet them at all, and what won't work. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this session is to focus on how to apply this 9th principle with the first 2 principles as part of our framework.